Hey, hey, welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the program so far. Sorry for all of the rambling in the beginning. I meant to do those intros a little bit quicker, but hey, everything happens for a reason. Another good thing to always tell yourself because, again, why not? It can help you through so many bad times, and it helps to train you. I've talked about this before. Really helps to train you to seek the good. Well, what is the reason? What is the purpose? If there's always a reason, then all I have to do is figure out what that reason is. And I've learned a lesson that is going to save me from having more problems like this in the future and even worse problems in the future. So, before I get into goal setting, I do want to touch on the holistic law of attraction. Again, I have the playlist here on YouTube, so check that out, all totally free and always will be, because this is just stuff that everybody should know and people shouldn't have to pay to learn this stuff. It's hidden from us, and this is power to the people. So it's a foundation, of belief. And this is something I learned back from passion parties and MLMs. When I was first learning, that was one of the ways that I had the law of attraction sort of presented to me was through multi-level marketing. And then one was through like my father-in-law equivalent. And I had actually got The Secret recommended to me by both sides. And then The Magic of Thinking Big was the first things that I started out with way back in 2015. So long time ago. But over the years, I have sort of developed this idea. Once I got into tarot, I started noticing some similarities and some ways of looking at things that helped me to conceptualize and remember and everything, and to work, the program, the law of attraction. So I called it the holistic law of attraction. So again, check it out. But the basic idea is that you have your swords, your cups, your wands, and your coins, right? Which is your four elements corresponding to air, water, fire, and metal, right? So if you know tarot, you know what I'm talking about. If not, you're like, okay, whatever, elements, four elements, whatever. So I've put it in the order, because swords is air, it's thoughts, it's minds, always comes first. This is the first conception of an idea. I have an idea, and then I'm going to plan, and I'm going to do the planning, and then the cups, the second step is the emotions. And that's, again, it's the water that soaks in. And this is a good seed analogy. If you have your seed is your little idea. And the seed can have a sprout. That's your sprouting of your idea, right? And then the water physically, really, it would be like the nutrients. There's numerous ways you could look at it, but the water, comes in. Obviously, plants need water. It's kind of surrounds and soaks into the environment, and it helps to grow. It helps the seed to grow. Without it, it's gonna lack what it needs to grow. And again, this cups is the emotional, the excitement, that goes along with saying your mantras, the belief there that, wow, even this hope that this really could happen. I think I'm going to act on this because I'm so excited right now that it would be stupid not to. My business is never going to grow if I don't do anything. So now that I'm excited, I'm going to act. And this is sort of the whole premise, behind a lot of things like the Train Your Brain program. Dana Wilde talks about this. I'll mention this a lot. A lot of the things that I say comes from her. A lot of the mantras that I put up come from her. Feel good first, the mentality, like feel good first, mindset matters most. You got to get in the good mindset first and then do the action. And kind of that belief and the excitement and the emotion is the part that kind of takes you, the water that takes you. So the wands is the fire, that's the action. That's what you do once you've got enough excitement and, around the idea. You're just surrounding that little seed, that idea, with the water. And the wands is obviously not fire, that's not good for plants, but that's just going to be like the good environment, the fuel or the food particles, and whatnot, that the conditions that have to be right, which is also kind of your coins actually in pentacles, because to me that is more of your habits, your results that are going to then stimulate either new action, a slight change of plans. The back to the swords, a cycle. So you go through, from the mental to the emotional to the wands to the pentacles, and it's always this cycle, because as soon as you've had enough thoughts and then you've juiced yourself up with getting excited about them enough, you know what I mean, and given that the right emotional energy and environment, and then when you start working it and then you start seeing your results, you get even more excited, and you have better ideas that lead you to better things, and the cycle just goes. This is how it's a wheel, the wheel of life. This is what it's all about. So that's the basic breakdown of the holistic law of attraction, just so you know, and you can kind of, if I start mentioning the swords and the cups, you'll sort of have that idea, and hopefully that people can kind of relate to that. And it actually kind of does relate with, go along with one of our first kind of exercises that we'll do after we talk about goal setting. So goal setting. We've all heard of SMART goals. If you haven't already, you should have this memorized. It's one of these acronyms that is cheesy, but it works, and it's been around for a long time for a reason. I've been saying the same exact SMART acronym, again, for 20 years. So specific, measurable, sometimes I have to think, achievable, relevant, and time-oriented or timely. Okay, very, very important that not only our goals kind of have these, but we need to bring that criteria over to our mantras as well, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as well. But yeah, again, specific. If you don't get specific enough, you're gonna, the feeling again kind of comes from that balance of achievability and wow, that would be really crazy, and that's exciting, and then that would really change my life. That's why you have to have that balance between the two, kind of on that spectrum of being achievable, but also again relevant to what you want, relevant to your emotions. Again, would this really change my life? Is this something that I'm just, is this goal even exciting enough for me? Is it specific enough? You want to get the time in there. And the time I always kind of try to, and I do this with my coaching, I try to line up the goal setting and the intention setting and everything, line it up with the new moon, and I think the energy really goes well. But you don't have to do that, but you can, and I'll probably do a video specifically on that, especially if you request it, so let me know. But somewhat achievable, relevant, they have to be, riling. It has to rile you up a little bit. Again, that's where you get that emotion. If you're doing it right, the emotion is there from the get-go. And again, if it's too far out, if it's unachievable, then you're going to have too much of a negative voice. And I'll help with kind of that aspect as too. We'll do some videos on that. So the new moon is a great time to have that new goal, or that slightly changed, version of the goal that we've been trying to get at. And the intention matters so much. You always want to have pure intentions. Talked a lot about that before, but you really, if you're more on the beginner side, you only want to have one main goal, one main focus. Okay. Now it could be, okay, if you want to, get fit, you maybe want to have, again, something measurable. Inches on the waist is a good one, or something like that. And you can have different ideas about that. We'll talk about this too, like supporting mantras. You don't have to necessarily have one mantra, but you should really just have one goal. You can have 2 or 3 if you're a little bit more seasoned, especially if they're in different areas of your life. And especially, some of us may actually benefit from that if you have a little bit, if you're the person who tends to go really hard on stuff and get obsessive about stuff, and then you need to step back from it and then let it grow for a while, and you need something else to sort of occupy your mind, talking from personal experience, then a couple of different. But if you're super busy right now, then stick to maybe just one big change in your life over the next month. I like to do it by the month. So you would look at the month, at what is 30 days from today on the calendar. So make that part of your mantra, make that part of your goal statement, is that, and don't I don't like to say goal statement. Like, have your goal, if you want to think about it that way, to then very quickly create your mantra. You don't want to just say, I wish, I hope. Hope is okay. It's better than nothing, but we can rise higher on like the manifestation scale if we pay attention. So following that one course will really help you to stay focused. You'll be able to get rid of things that might come up that might distractions are huge. Just having that priority, knowing that you need to say no to things that isn't into this goal so that you can focus on one course until it's successful. That's the FOCUS acronym, again, another good one that's been around for a really long time. So one, again, even if it's not one major goal, it's one major goal per category in your life, per major category in your life. So it's like, take that saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and do the opposite. Put all your eggs in this one basket.